I just have to believe, and I just have to know deep within my soul that like no matter what happens and how it happens and what decisions I ultimately end up making, it's gonna be okay. And I will survive, and if I don't, then I'm dead, and then who cares? Today we'll be discussing the Bible. I have found Jesus Christ. The case for me, I've been in survival mode for as long as I can remember, and over the course of the past several years when I've come to that realization and actually taken accountability for it, or not accountability, but sort of like owned it for myself and been like, this is the state I've been operating in for most of my life. No wonder I've been so stressed and panicked and, you know, kind of avoidant of a lot of things, and just generally like always in the back of my mind feeling scared of anything and everything. And in the past several years, I've put in a lot of work to heal that, to get myself out of that state, and to regulate my nervous system, and to feel more centered and more secure within my body and my mind and myself generally, and in the world as well. And I think I've kind of hit a bit of a, I don't know if it's a plateau, but it's sort of like this point, and I don't know if other people can relate, but where I've done all the work and I've gotten myself out of it successfully, but now I've sort of reached this point where I think I'm scared to do scary things and unpredictable things in my life because I'm worried I'll get back into that state of fight or flight and survival. And I don't want to, obviously. I feel at peace and I feel calm and I feel secure, and then all of this work is just going to be for nothing if I do something unpredictable and it leads me into a bit of a, I don't know, like a discomforting, scary situation. I think that's what's really holding me back from like taking the next steps in my life and doing things and taking actions, because I can't predict so much. If anything, this is the most unpredictable my future has ever looked in my life, even though for the most part my future has been unpredictable. But this is the sort of kind of stage where I'm presently in this moment not even knowing of like the basic outline of my future. Like I'm literally in like this in-between bubble, but in a very not severe-ish, but like in a privileged way nonetheless, but like ultimately still out in the open of the world and not knowing what's to come. And I've said this already repeatedly in previous videos, and I've yapped about it quite a bit already, annoyingly, but I don't even have a country that I live in. I have such a deep-rooted fear now to kind of go forward and take unpredictable steps because I don't want to go back into survival mode. And I feel like if anything happens and if I get myself into any situation that could be like potentially, you know, uncomfortable and scary and put me in a situation that makes me feel like ooh, what's going on, like I don't know what to do about this, I really don't want to go back into that feeling, into that survival mode. And I always have this like terrible decision paralysis or indecision paralysis of not knowing, like, am I making the right choice here, or is this the wrong choice, I need to make that choice, or is this choice, or am I making that choice, like what is the right choice? Like I need to know what the right choice is, but obviously you never can know what the right decision is when it comes to you building your life and making decisions for your life and your future. That is unpredictable. You know, I can't make the right choices, technically, like the right choices, because it's not about that. And I think ultimately what I've had to come to like peace with is that at the end of the day, when it comes to making a decision and you have like, let's say 2 decisions and you got to pick one, ultimately the way that I kind of believe in this, and maybe in a sense also this just makes me feel a bit more reassured, is like there is no wrong choice. There's just a choice that you make, and based on whatever choice you make, that's when the universe kind of is like, okay, this person has made this choice, we're gonna do everything we can to make this decision work. I'm like, okay, but what if I don't actually know how to choose what's right for me? And it's not like I haven't made mistakes in the past, and I have made poor decisions. I have made decisions where I look back and I'm like, why did I do that? But ultimately, all of the things that happen to you, even if you end up feeling like a failure at the end of it, teach you something about yourself, teach you something about your life, teach you something about people, and ultimately I think put you in a situation where you're a lot less likely to make that type of a choice again. Do you know what I'm saying? And so I just have to really believe in that. Perhaps with that, I will be okay. But then again, you never know. And that's why I always say, like, I can't give up, because, like, there is no giving up. Like, you're still alive until you're dead. So until I'm dead, like, I can't give up. There's just no choice. I do want to, like, I want to know how my life unfolds going forward, but I just don't want to end up in painful situations where I feel scared and dysregulated and am in flight mode again, because that was such a long long period of my life. That was the majority of my life, is being in survival mode. And when you actually get out of survival mode, it's like a completely new way of existing as a human. And I think like I just want to do everything in my power to not get back there, to not feel like I'm like fighting to survive. And obviously I'm sitting in an apartment, I'm clearly clean, I'm fed, I'm nourished. Like it's nothing about like the physiological survival. I have the privilege of, you know, being taken care of in that sense, but like the emotional and the psychological, I don't know, I guess it's like comforting to know that it really just comes from a place of self-preservation and trying to protect myself and from not getting hurt and not dysregulating my nervous system, because I just have so much love and respect for it now that I kind of know what it does for me and that it's there and what it's been through my whole life. But yeah, and I just don't want to go back there. I don't want to go back to that place of feeling scared and of feeling insecure and of feeling like it was gonna get worse before it got better. And that sort of being the default thinking that I always had was like, I just have to struggle a little bit for it to get good. And to have like a good period of my life, I have to suffer a little bit. And that just sort of being the normal and kind of like expecting it and preparing myself for those scary, stressful, unpleasant emotions and feelings in my body that would then translate into me also like doing things towards my body that weren't really nice, and nothing like extreme. But I think I just really have to remind myself that I am so much more capable now to recognize the signs of my own dysregulation and to be able to sort of capture myself in those moments and fix it then and there, or at least like, you know, just be able to like notice it and identify it and do something about it and actually know how to do something about it, versus back in the day I just sort of like default fell through survival, flight, fight, fawn, whatever the response was depending on the situation. And now like I have to have the confidence in knowing that I can bring myself up again, I can protect myself, I can be safe again. And even when things knock me down, I can always pick myself up again and get to that place of protection and safety and comfort. And it's never going to be like it was in the past, because I know myself so much better, I know my body so much better, and I care about my body so much more than I used to. Like that's when the noise gets the loudest, because it's trying to like preserve itself and not get killed off. And that's when you really have to like remind yourself like, no, this is not real. It's just screaming louder and louder because it's trying to self-preserve. But we don't want to self-preserve this bitch, because this bitch is like not preserving me. This bitch is making my life harder, my emotional state more challenging. We need to remove. And so you really just have to like fight for your life in those moments. I've lost my train of thought now, but I wanted to go back to my journal. I just need to remind myself of all the times I've done it successfully in the past and trust myself enough to be able to get there, the same way I've gotten myself there every single time previously, and to trust in the external magic that lingers amongst everything, that I can ask for the things I desire and know that they will enter my life in one way or another when the time is right. I really was like to myself when I wrote that. I was like, I'm genuinely at the point in my life where I have nothing to lose and everything to gain. So let me just spin the wheel and see where it lands and go from there. Because once again, I have nowhere else to fucking go. Literally, I have nowhere else to fucking go. Like, I'm trapped. And like, that might sound a bit sad and scary. And trust me, I went through the feels of it being sad and scary. But at the end of the day, this is literally like my opportunity to completely technically start from scratch and to decide from a very like comfortable environment, work on all of this stuff and realize all of this shit about myself and about my feelings and about what I'm running away from, what I'm avoiding, where I have limitations still, and just like all of that fun little stuff. Do you know what I'm saying? I don't want to waste my time on something that might guide me closer to where I want to go. Oh, that won't guide me closer to where I want to go, but I guess that's just the risk of life. Literally everything you've done technically in this life has been a risk. Going to college, that was a risk. Being friends with a certain person, that was a risk. Getting to a romantic relationship, that was a risk. Dyeing your hair blonde, that was a risk that you regretted, because what the fuck, don't do that. That's really bad for your hair. And then It's gonna get dry and you need to cut it all off. You're gonna have short hair and it's not gonna look cute, trust me. Yeah, so technically everything you do is a risk, and I think life is just all about being comfortable with risk. And I was listening to this video today where he was saying, like, you can have fear without excitement, but you can't have excitement without fear. And I was like, is that true? Like, I had to think about all the times I've been excited, or like at least times I can remember. And ultimately, I think it is true. Like, when you travel to new places, you're really excited, but at the same time, like, you don't know what's gonna happen. You don't know where the frick you're going. You've never been there. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, you don't know, and that's a little scary. Where do we place the predominant amount of excitement over where do we place the predominant feeling of fear? I think for a lot of people it differs. Some people find certain things more exciting than they do fearful. For other people, it could be the opposite. They find that thing to be more fearful than they do exciting. And for me, for example, like, I've moved country several times throughout my adult life now, and I think it's always been something that's ultimately, like, through the years as I've done it, it's become more exciting than it has fearful. But for a lot of people, it's the opposite. It's a lot more scary than it is exciting. But again, in the beginnings, it wasn't like that. It was absolutely more scary than it was exciting. But, you know, with time, I just sort of learned that there wasn't as much validity to the fears that I had regarding this thing that I did. It's like they say our brain is a computer, and when you tell your brain something, it believes it. Like, your brain cannot tell the difference between reality and imagination. So if you're sort of telling to your brain, like, show me all of the good things that this situation can bring, your brain is going to look for that. Your brain looks for the things that you command of it, really. And if you consciously and subconsciously assume and believe and expect to see the negative, that's what your brain, just as a computer, is going to look for. And I don't have a license. I don't even have a license. I don't have legal right to drive any vehicle. I'm a little dumb. But I genuinely think, like, because I had the mindset of, like, I can ride this moped, mainly because I just wanted the freedom to be able to do it on my own and to not pay shit tons of money to taxi and moped drivers, I was like, I can do it. And I did. And I did it. And so I'm getting so much, like, Christianity, religion-related content on my social media accounts, and I am concerned. Like, I'm like, it really makes me think, like, am I meant to be, like, seeing this? Like, is this a sign from the universe, from God, that I'm supposed to become religious all of a sudden? And I'm like, no, that's not my destiny. Like, I know I will never be a part of organized religion because there's just so many faults to it. But this looks like a cross. It's not. It's the letter A, which stands for atheist. Agnostic. I am agnostic. Anyway, that wasn't the point of this video. Anyway, that's all I want to say.